Hi friends, in the previous session in interference we have seen Newton's rings, and with that help we have also seen how to determine the wavelength of a given source of light. So by using the same experiment in the current discussion, we shall try to understand how do we measure the refractive index of a given liquid. So in the previous session, as a hint, I am making you to recollect that the wavelength we have identified as d square n minus d square m by 4 into n minus m into r. This is the expression we got in the last session. For the wavelength, n and m are the number of rings, d is the diameter, r is the radius of curvature of the convex lens. Now I wanted you to just, using this formula, we will try to measure the refractive index. Suppose we have taken a liquid, we want to find out the refractive index of that liquid. So for that, just try to recollect the Newton's rings experimental setup, where I am just showing a small diagram here. We have taken a plano convex lens, kept its convex surface on a plain glass plate. So somehow we made the light to incident at 45 degrees to this normal. And these light rays gets reflected and their pattern is observed from the microscope. This is what we have seen. Here we have kept air film. So with air film, we will repeat the experiment or conduct the experiment with air film. Air film between glass plate and plano convex lens. So then find diameter of mth and nth dark rings. With the help of traveling microscope, which is mobile. Now from this formula, you can cross multiply and find the difference. So when you cross multiply, d square n minus d square m will be equal to 4 into n minus m into lambda r cross multiplication. So therefore, from that formula, what we will have by cross multiplying, d square n minus d square m is equal to 4 into n minus m into lambda r. Call this as equation 1. Now, interestingly, this experiment we have seen last time. Now, with what particular liquid you want to find out the refractive index, take that liquid in a container. Take liquid whose refractive index is to be found out in a container. Okay. Now, in that container, just put this apparatus, make it immerse, so that instead of air film, that liquid enters here. Then you will have a liquid film, and same experiment is repeated. So now what I am training is plano-convex lens and plain glass plate is placed into the container. Now air film is replaced by liquid film. That means the same operating setup where you have air film earlier, put this part inside the liquid of liquid in a container, so that this air film is replaced by liquid film, and conduct the same experiment. So therefore, again find diameters of same mth and nth dark rings. This is to be kept in mind. For the same rings we have to find. Now because you are finding for the same rings, now you have, let us say, d dash square n minus d dash square m is equal to 4 into n minus m lambda r this is another formula. See here, this is with air film, same formula you measured with film for liquid film. Now you want mu. Mu is a ratio. How you get? That is d dash square n minus d dash square m is equal to 4 into n minus m lambda r by mu. Okay, now from this equation and this equation you can write from both the equations mu is equal to d square 1 minus d square m divided by d dash square n minus d dash square m. That means it is a ratio of differences of nth ring and mth ring, squares of the diameters with air film followed by liquid film. What is d here? Diameter. This is diameter square of the nth ring. This is the diameter square of the mth ring with air film. This is for the same mth ring, diameter square of the nth ring. For the same mth dark ring, diameter square of the mth ring when liquid film is formed. This is when air film is formed. This is when liquid film is formed. The ratio gives you the refractive index of the liquid in which you have conducted the experiment. So this is the method. Using this formula, mu of the liquid can be calculated. So this is the important thing we have to understand. Next thing we are trying to understand is, when we talk about interference process, we have to understand its usage or applications. Applications in engineering or engineering applications. Where do we use this particular concept of interference? First, it is used in signal processing. Now, though it is a little bit beyond your curriculum, let me explain what this signal processing is all about. First, understand interference concept is used in signal processing. What is signal processing? You can say it is a subfield of electrical engineering. What it focuses? It focuses analyzing, modifying, synthesizing signals such as sound, image, scientific measurements. So study of this in electrical engineering is what is known as signal processing. So in signal processing, interference concept is applied. That is the first application. Okay. Now the second one, interference concept or principle is used in image processing. Okay. And the third application is interference concept is used in heat distribution mapping. What is heat distribution mapping? Let me explain what is this concept. Now, as far as university is concerned, it is sufficient for you to write that interference is used in heat distribution mapping. Interference is used in signal processing. Interference is used in image processing. That's enough as far as university question is concerned. But personally, you need to understand when I say heat distribution mapping, what is heat distribution mapping? Let me explain to you by going a little bit beyond your curriculum. Now, when we use the word heat map, please understand it is data visualization technique. What is data visualization technique? Data visualization technique means it shows magnitude of phenomenon as color in 2 dimensions. That means color variation may be hue or intensity. Intensity variation can be studied. Just like in the case of intensity variation, hue, data visualization can be done with the help of distribution. So heat mapping or heat distribution mapping is a technique of data visualization where it shows the magnitude of phenomenon as color in 2 dimensions. That variation can be understood. Transfer variation can be understood in the case of heat distribution. That process is called heat distribution mapping. Interference is used in heat distribution mapping. And then interference concept is used in wave and light amplification, light simplification. And it is used in optical interferometry. For engineering measurement. Let me brief you about understanding what is interferometry. Now, when we use the word interferometry, right now understand it is a family of techniques. Techniques used for what? Techniques used to extract information. Use family of techniques used to extract information. Information, how? By means of superimposing generally electromagnetic waves. By superimposing electromagnetic waves, that is the principle of interference, can be used to extract information. Such type of a technique is what is known as interferometry. So you can have frequency study in radio interferometry. If it is with respect to sound, it is called acoustic, or if it is space, you can say astronomical interferometry. So astronomical interferometry, radio interferometry, and optical interferometry, 3 different processes are there. In all the cases, principle of interference is used. Now I use the word acoustic interferometry. Acoustic interferometry, it is, for example, you take a sound wave. Now to study physical characteristics of sound wave in a gas or a liquid when it is propagating. So when a sound wave is propagating in a gas or a liquid, if you want to study the properties of physical characteristics of the sound wave, you can go for acoustic interferometry, where the principle of interference is applied. Okay. Another application of interference, you can say, you can measure small changes in radius of curvature and length of bodies with the help of interference. Now you can measure elastic constants of materials with the help of interference, and you can also use interference to measure the smoothness or thickness of a glass plate, and you can measure the refractive index of a liquid. These are all different applications. So various applications are there as far as interference is concerned. If you see all these applications I am summarizing, where do we use interference? Interference is used in signal processing. The principle of interference is applied in image processing. Just now I explained that interference concept is required for heat distribution mapping. And interference phenomena can be used in both wave and light simplification. Interference phenomena is used in optical interferometry for engineering measurement. Apart from that, interference is used in radio interferometry and astronomical interferometry. With the help of interference in acoustic, with the help of acoustic interferometer, we can measure the physical characteristics of a sound wave in a gas or a liquid medium. Interference is used in detecting and measuring small changes in the radius of curvature and length of bodies. Interference concept is also used in determination of elastic constants of a material. Interference concept will be helpful in testing the smoothness of a surface and thickness of a glass plate. Interference concept is also required, and with the help of interference concept we can measure, just now we have seen, the refractive index of a given liquid. While looking at applications of interference, we have seen something called signal processing. Now when we use the word signal processing, we get a term, something called homodyne or heterodyne. Let me brief you what basically it is. For example, homodyne is a term you get in signal processing. Suppose a wave is propagating like this. When a wave is propagating, amplitude can be understood, phase can be detected. While superimposing the signals, these two can be modulated. You can have frequency modulation, which is called FM. You can have amplitude modulation, which is called AM. You can have phase modulation, which is called PM. So with these modulations, we shall see how to arrive at homodyne concept. When a signal is, let us say, oscillating like this. Now information about the signal can be obtained through frequency or through amplitude or the phase. So we need to extract information about a signal, how it is encoded already. Encoded either in frequency or in amplitude or in phase. So from that encoded process, how do you extract this information? So by comparing with a similar or identical signal, we can get the information about a particular signal. That means I have a signal here. I want to know about the characteristics of this wave or signal. It is oscillating. Its information is encoded in its phase, in its frequency, in its amplitude. So by comparing with similar identical wave in signal processing, that is what is termed as homodyne. Right? Now let us see another term called hetero. Hetero means different. So we have to understand that homodyne is a concept of extracting information about a oscillating signal which is encoded in its modulation of frequency or amplitude by comparing with a similar identical oscillating signal. That is homodyne. Now let us understand heterodyne. Heterodyne is a concept of creating a new signal frequency by mixing two or more frequencies using signal processing techniques. This concept is heterodyne concept. The earlier concept I have is extracting information about a signal which got encoded in modulation of amplitude or frequency by comparing with similar identical signal is what is known as homodyne. So this is one basic important thing. So let me summarize what we have seen so far. So in interference we have tried to understand the concept of principle of superposition. Then we discussed about concept of coherence and the types of coherence like temporal and spatial. And thereafter we have seen what are the conditions for interference. And then we have seen interference in films by means of reflection Then we have gone for understanding Newton's rings. Under Newton's rings, we tried to look at the experimental setup and the theory involved. With that, we looked at how to find the wavelength of a given source and also how to find the refractive index of a given liquid. And thereafter, we discussed about the applications of interference. Okay. So as a summary, when you try to look at some of the problems given in the universities, which I am calling as numericals, basically recollect some formulas. Now we have seen a formula called path difference, found to be 2 mu t cos r, where mu is the refractive index, t is the thickness, angle of refraction. Okay. From this, we obtained the condition for a bright fringe or a bright ring or bright spot as 2 mu t cos r plus lambda by 2 is equal to n lambda, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Similarly, for a dark spot, we obtained as 2 mu t cos r is equal to n lambda, where n equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. And in the Newton's rings experiment, when we are trying to measure the diameters, we obtained a condition that for the dark spot, d we found to be proportional to square root of natural numbers. Similarly, in the case of a bright fringe, d is found to be proportional to square root of odd natural numbers. This is n, this is 2n minus 1. And the lambda value for determination, when determining the wavelength, we found it as d square n minus d square m by 4 into n minus m into r, or in the case of a refractive index, d dash square n minus d dash square m by 4 into n minus m into r. Now from this you can also find thickness. So by having familiarity with these formulae, you can attempt university numericals. Any problem you take in interference basically depends on these formulae only. So if you take the previous papers and also the exercise given in your prescribed textbook, they are all based on this formula. So at the end of this unit, I am giving a summary. So this is what we have discussed in interference. In this entire chapter, we have these formulae. Based on this formulae, try to attempt the numericals and practice them. So in the next session, we shall discuss the other part of optical phenomena called diffraction.